Okay, so here we are at Bloc for another classic vlog. Just gonna get the session started at around grade 10, which is a circuit grade here at Bloc. For those who haven't watched the video here, I got a circuit from 1 to 15. These aren't V grades, they're just circuits. So yeah, we'll get started on this 10. Looks pretty doable, really fun. Cool looking mantle move at the end, probably, which looks like it could be extremely hard or surprisingly doable. That's kind of the look of that move to me. That was really cool. Yeah, when I was looking at that, I was wondering if I would have to just kind of fully mantle with no feet and do a kind of dynamic bump with the right hand, but you're able to step in that crack, which made it a lot more doable. Really, really fun. Gets the body going. Start finding some harder stuff now. Okay, so next up, we're gonna do another 10. This one has got the red holds. Looks like we got some cool pressing moves at the start. And then tricky looking move to this crimp. And then I think we're gonna feature a shadow match on this crimp to move off of it. Maybe if that's the case, we'll talk about what goes into the shadow match. I'm not sure if it's a shadow match, but I have a suspicion. Okay, yeah, that press move is a little bit of a foreign feeling on my still injured right shoulder. It doesn't hurt too bad, but I think I want to find a different way to work around it. I could probably do it like that, but I'm just going to find basically a harder way to work around, you know, a little tweak I have. And I think that harder method is potentially more of a jump. Like this crimp is pretty decent. I think that I can go up to the crimp and then kind of stab my foot on this volume. And maybe that's even like the idea with the boulder. Maybe you're not actually meant to static over, although I think you are. That felt really doable, what I just tried, but just like a little uncomfortable feeling on the shoulder. So I'll try the dynamic method, see if it works. Okay, shadow match. Okay, yeah, so the dynamic method worked here in the middle. Yeah, I don't actually think that was the intended sequence. I think it was just cool to work around my tweak. And then, yeah, what I suspected for that crimp worked out really well. And I did a shadow match, but I did something a little cheeky, which is I did the shadow match while I was actually doing the move. So this is kind of in situations where we want to do a shadow match, like we don't want a piano match on a hold, and obviously move off of it, we do a shadow match. And for those who don't know what a shadow match is, it's basically kind of like a hand switch where you place one hand on top of the other and you slide your bottom hand out, and then your other hand just slides into place, similar to how you do a foot switch. And this gets around, you know, like a nasty little piano match. So typically you kind of just shadow match a hold and then you go for the next move. But what that entails is, in this situation, if I were to do that, I would have to shadow match on this crimp and then hold like a pretty aggressive swing and kind of like load with the right hand, which is difficult to do. It's like hard on the fingers. But if I shadow match, switch my hands as I'm going up, and I catch the left hand as I load my right hand, I basically eliminate that kind of like loading of the right hand and then doing another move, right? I combine the two. So that's a really cool thing you can do sometimes with the shadow match, is essentially stack on the hold you're moving off of, go for the next hold, do the shadow match, and as you hit the next hold. So yeah, I had a suspicion that that would work there, and it did, so that was quite fun. right, let's keep it going. Okay, so this next one is this red 12 we're gonna do. And this one I've actually sent before, and it was really hard for me. It was only a few days ago. Took me a good 20 minutes or something, and it's really, really fun. And features a cool technique as well. So I wanna try and send the boulder again today. I'll also talk about the technique. That was really important for me to get this end of it. All right, let's put our first attempt on. Okay, so that's like, maybe that's not the crux move. That's like the second hardest move. The crux is probably moving to the little crimp. Okay, that's feeling a little bit worse, I think, than the day I sent the boulder. The holes are feeling a little less sticky, so I'm gonna have to probably try harder today than I did on the first time I did this. Anyway, let's just quickly talk about the technique in this boulder that I mentioned, because we already featured it. So it has to do with this foot cut. And basically, I'm on this sloper here, right? I have this kind of bicycle pincer thing. And I have to release my feet in order to move my foot here to continue on the boulder. And this hold isn't the worst, it's not the best. So the foot cut is pretty hard. And if I were to just have my hands, have my feet, and just let them go and let my body swing, it'd be very difficult to control the swing, and there's a good chance I'd fall. So I actually do a little micro movement with my body to help control this foot cut. So essentially what I do is I'm here, I kind of do a little bit of a pull-up. I kind of raise my center of gravity just by a little bit as my feet are cutting. And the reason why this is helpful is imagine I'm 2 feet taller and the feet are like 2 feet lower, and I had to take a foot cut. All of a sudden my lever is way longer. It's so much more force and momentum ripping my body off. It's gonna be way more difficult for my upper body to control that swing. Now imagine the reverse. I'm 2 feet shorter. A lot easier to hold that swing. I have a shorter lever, less momentum. And this is why taller people often struggle a bit more with cutting the feet on every move, and it's more of a shorter person style to do that. So basically by moving my center of gravity up a little bit, I essentially bring my center of gravity up and shorten my lever. I kind of make myself a smaller person just by a little increment. And it makes the foot cut easier, with the way the mechanics work. So yeah, it's just like a little bit, like a small percentage of boost, but it really helps, especially in the long run where I have to do a lot more physically difficult moves at the end, helps save energy. So definitely consider that when you're doing like foot releases, bring that center of gravity up a little bit, shorten the lever. All right, I'm gonna run the ending, get the moves redialed in before I give another ground attempt. All right, it still probably feels like a touch worse than the first time I did it, but at least now that I actually physically executed those last moves, it gives me confidence that I can do it on a send go. That's another good strategy when you're projecting or red pointing a boulder. Even though you can do certain moves that you've already done before, physically executing them on that day can help with the muscle memory and the confidence. All right, we can get some send burns now. Oh man, that's so finicky, like on that right hand upside down sloper. I mean, you notice on that attempt, I kind of like didn't even go for the hold. You either have like a really good stick on this or you just don't. That's kind of how it goes with these holds sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like 1 or 2 more tries. This one just feels a little bit like luck, like just something has to go right with the way you grab the holds. So yeah, there's a lot of other boulders I want to try too. So 2 more quality effort attempts. Let's do it. Man, this finish match is not easy. This heel is really slopey and feels like it can slip while I'm trying to do the match. That's what I mean about this boulder. Like contrast that attempt to the last. The previous attempt, I couldn't even budge for the next hold. That attempt, it just looked easy. You know, I just like kind of pulled up and hit the hold perfectly. And I just had, yeah, like a little bit better of a stick. I think the idea is when you go up to hit this right hand, you want to hit it kind of perfectly right away, because if you hit it bad and you adjust, that little extra bit of grease is crazy how much of a difference that makes. But that time I think I just hit it and it was ready to go immediately. So yeah, when you're kind of on the limit of your friction with these kinds of boulders, really keep that in mind. Be very thoughtful about how you first land that grab on a hold. All right, nice. That was cool to get a repeat of that. Really, really fun boulder. I thought that technique was really important to talk about with the foot release. Just keep looking for some cool stuff. Okay, so next up, we're gonna do this blue 11. I have not tried this one. It looks really cool, really fun. It's got this big campus paddle dyno in the middle here. And then for the start, so we have these two holds, and they're really bad. And a lot of times, you know, in these Quebec gyms, they like to kind of almost have you paddle through the start and not really control it. So that's how I'm interpreting the start of this. I'd be shocked if you're meant to control these two slopers, because this one is just completely flat and there's nothing on it. So I think it's just kind of like you jump, paddle, paddle, paddle. Makes sense. That's kind of rose block style. So that's what I'm gonna go for. And then yeah, big campus paddle. It looks like my style. I typically like this kind of move, but this one looks really big in particular. I'll do my best to try and flash though. Okay, that was a pretty good flash go. Yeah, the hard part about this one is this paddle hold is like really vertical, right? So it's very difficult to paddle off it, because basically if I get too much to the right, it's kind of impossible to downpull. So I need to make sure that I'm still on the left side of this hold while I'm trying to generate a little bit more. But yeah, that first go went better than I thought. I have a strong feeling second go might be the one. Man, I still didn't really get like more pull off of that middle hold because it's just so vertical. It's really difficult to get more generation off that. But luckily, like the next hold isn't so far away. I was just barely able to snag it. That was a shoulder destroyer a little bit. Yeah, really fun. Nice to see that I still have the campus power. Keep it going. Next up, we got this purple 11. And this one's new. I haven't tried this one either. Looks really tricky. Kind of a similar-ish style to the red 12 we were just doing earlier. Sticky slopers, body position. Looks like it's gonna really revolve around perching on this foot in order to make use of like these terrible looking hands. Looks really fun. Oh. Okay, I was really tall personing my way. I'm not even that tall, but I was tall personing my way through this part and then almost even taller through that ending. But that was a bad idea. What can I do there though? That's a little bit weird. I do think that I had the right idea with the toe hook in order to go to the crimp, because otherwise there's nothing I can really do since I'm grabbing this right-hand side pull. If I'm going to a Gaston, I need some compression. So the toe hook makes sense. Then I go again, but then how do I release that? Maybe what I can do is like, okay, you know what? Actually, this could be cool. I will use the toe hook and the sloper, try to bump my right foot up here, and then go into a shoulder on the blocker. And then the last one's a jug, so I'm sure I can just dyno for it out of there. If that's like the intended sequence, that's really cool. That's a really nice boulder. Like it's so subtle and kind of hidden, but it works so well at like keeping the toe hook in order to bump the foot up. Really, really subtly cool sequence. And then like, I don't know if I had to do the shoulder into the blocker and dyno, I might have actually just been able to dyno out of that. That's actually a really sick boulder. One of the best in the gym. Okay, got a few more left in me. This blue comp boulder is up next. This one I have not tried, and yeah, it's got like a dyno at the beginning. It looks like it could be pretty hard or pretty doable. It's hard to tell. Looks like my style. I'm feeling confident for the flash. A little tricky for the finish match. And yeah, like a little trick, when you see kind of what looks like a running sequence, like it looks like maybe I'm meant to step or jump or something, ask yourself if you really have to do that. You see, I kind of just went straight for the zone and straight for like a foot stab, and that was helpful on that move. All right, let's keep going. Next up, we have this green 10, and I've done this one before. I want to do it again because it is super, super nice. I really like this one. I think it like uses these slopers really creatively. This one in particular, where you kind of have to wrap the wrong side of it to get stood up for this last move. Really, really cool. And the first part's interesting as well because you have to do this difficult lock off a really bad hold and then cut your feet. It's fun. It took me a few tries as well, so it's pretty tricky. Oh, really spicy ending there. It feels really difficult to wrap this left-hand one and do the stand-up because it's so slippery. But yeah, really, really fun. And then this one also uses a technique that I think I was talking about in the last vlog we did probably. Kind of like where you can reverse bicycle against the wall sometimes. So this hold, if I was just standing with my right foot, my left foot wasn't doing anything, like this, I can hold it, but there's no way that I can actually do the next move because this hold is just too bad. So what's really important is I kind of press my toe against the wall while I'm toeing in with my right here, and it's creating that reverse bicycle effect. Talked about this a lot before. Yeah, like the wall can often like help you create that tension in order to keep your center of gravity from moving anywhere and keep you really still, even on holds that are facing the wrong way and are really bad and would normally spit you off. So yeah, that was really important for the beginning there. And then once I had a good enough grip on this, and I could like really wrap it and down pull, it allowed me to cut the feet. Really nice one. Okay, next we got this purple boulder. I managed to flash this one when I did it before, but it was super desperate. No, I mean desperate. It felt like it was a pretty lucky flash. So see if I can do the same thing again. Again, this one's super fun, so I want to feature it in today's video. There's a foot cross sequence at the ending there, which is the crux. Even though we have this big lâché move, the lâché is okay, but it's this crossing of the feet at the end, which is really low percentage feeling. Yeah, super fun boulder. And a little technical breakdown with that one. As for this foot cross, I see a lot of people often make the mistake of, when we're crossing our feet through, rotating the hip in that with the leg that we're crossing feet through. Some people can get away with this. Smaller people in particular can get away with this. It doesn't actually create too much of a problem for them. But the bigger you are, the more difficult it's going to be for you to rotate that hip of the leg you're crossing through inwards to the wall, because you're going to have more of just human body here, and it's going to hit the wall and bump you away. So yeah, like this becomes a mistake the bigger of a person you are. And with me, this is a mistake. Like I often can't rotate. I'm just too large. So if you notice, what I did for this move is I stayed square to the wall and I snuck my foot in through like this. And this is also nice because it helps you stay really still, and you can find the foothold with the tip of your toe. And then as soon as you have pressure there, it actually allows you to rotate a little bit more, do whatever you want, and then you can put your whole foot down. But basically the technique is, okay, I stay square, I use my kind of square hips and use my toe to find my target. I latch onto it, and then I can do whatever I want. So if you're someone that like really struggles with those crossing of the foot through movements, like I was for a long time until I discovered this technique, make sure you attempt them like this. So anyway, that is today's vlog. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.